Good afternoon. I thought the part that was frustrating for me just the first half, we just kind of looked like we were sleepwalking a little bit. Some guys weren't ready to roll. They'd actually picked it up very well in the second half. Thought the way that we executed. There's definitely some exciting guys out there to watch. Obviously, 33 has been impressive to us throughout fall camp. I think him and with Jonathan Williams and Alice Collins, those three guys are pretty special. All have a different little makeup to them that makes them exciting to get into plays. I thought BA came around in the second half. I thought our defense, and one thing that has shown up throughout the course of the spring and out there today, they're definitely a little bit more physical. They run to the ball very, very well. There's some guys that lay some pads out there, and was exciting to watch them. As far as injury-wise, I didn't want to play. There's nothing wrong with Trey. We just kept him out of all scrimmage situations this spring. Demetrius Wilson, the same thing. He's been practicing all spring, but he just hasn't been able to go through live contact scenarios. B. Lou just rolled his ankle a little bit there, walked in with him. He seems to be fine. We'll make sure we have an x-ray on that just to rule out anything from that standpoint. Otherwise, everybody else stayed healthy. I thought I liked the energy. I liked the way they played, especially in the second half. With that, open it up.
You said Corliss, you called it what, freak show runs earlier this spring. What, I mean, do you show you just kind of a continuation of that today?
You know, as I've had some friends in the coaching profession come in this spring that really didn't know anything about our team, they all every person comments on 33, just how explosive he is, and it's obviously easy to see if he gets just a little seam, he can be gone in a hurry. So he's very impressive and very, very excited to have him in our program.
Coming on the pass rush, Dietrich Wise and those guys were getting to the second team. Right?
Yeah, you know, I think obviously Dietrich has continued to make strides. Dietrich's just so long. If he can get you locked out and extended, I don't care how good a pass pro you are, he's going to cause problems. You know, the one thing that with our one defense going against our two offense, I knew there was going to be some issues. He'd obviously do some things to help them protection-wise if we were scheming, go for a game.
How important is it for that second half for Brandon for
Huge.
Not that to be the?
You know, Jim at halftime and talked to BA. We did water down. Obviously, we didn't run our entire offense, either throwing the ball or running the ball. So we were pretty vanilla, but I wanted to have him get in some rhythm, some play-action passes. I think BA is a guy that, you know, it's just not his game to sit back there and throw drop-back passes. You know, to move him around in the pocket, get him with some play action. Helps him get in rhythm a little bit better. But I thought our guys caught the ball extremely well in the second half. I thought 81 and number one, I wanted to get them involved in some plays, and that's what happened.
Austin Allen and Wright Phoebe, you guys exchanged them back and forth. You played Austin with the ones a little bit. Assess your backup quarterbacks.
You know, both of them just got to continue to get better. They're a long ways away from being SEC ready, but both of them are you know, kids that learn very, very well. They want to be successful, and they're quarterback junkies. I know they're in with Jim all the time as much as they can. So we do have a lot of growth at that position to take.
Coverage better because it looked like
there was contested. You know, I think both of BA's picks were balls that were you know, basically broke up at the reception and balls in the air, and that's how you create turnovers. So I thought our guys are playing a lot tighter in coverage. They're using their hands better. One dramatic change that I thought we did during the out of season and just philosophy-wise on defense is getting our hands on receivers and rerouting them and challenge them at the line of scrimmage, which is going to pay off.
How concerned are you with that being the performance that Brandon Allen takes with him throughout the
second half?
The first half into the summer.
Well, the good thing about a quarterback, I think, about a competitor is, you know, it's about how you finish, and he finished extremely well in the third quarter. I thought it was important. I didn't know how much we were going to play him in the second half, but at halftime I said he'd leave him in the entire third quarter and see where he can get, and obviously came back on rhythm, so that was a big part.
Still full confidence
100%.
in him.
Yep. What was that?
What differences do you see in Brandon this spring compared to last season, or what you've seen in the past week?
Last spring, you know, it's night and day. I mean, he wasn't the #1 quarterback last spring. You know, we had another quarterback he was rotating and competing with. Finished out spring ball. I think in the fall we were excited to get to where he was. The part that was the biggest setback was obviously the injury in the fall, and just he wasn't able to progress and get better during the course of the season as much as he'd like, just because he couldn't practice. And then this spring has made some strides, and a guy that I think his teammates, when he's in the huddle, have a lot of confidence in him. So at halftime you could just see the way kids are reacting, the receivers, O-linemen, everybody with that one group was all about, hey, let's get on track, let's get our guys flying around, let's be a little bit more energetic in the huddle, and that carried over.
David Mitchell getting a lot of reps at wide receiver. Is he getting more comfortable?
Who's that? Oh, Duwop?
Yeah, Duwop.
Yeah, we the last, I guess last 2 weeks, we moved him strictly to wide receiver, and You know, he's continued to make good strides there. I thought today was a really good day for him. He caught the ball effectively, and he's a strong player. You know, when he gets his hands on the ball, he's a big body to bring down. It was impressive to watch him.
What did you think of that sequence? It was Marshall's 59-yard touchdown and then 2 defensive scores back-to-back.
Well, I think contested balls. I thought the guys on some of the underneath routes are the way Rob teaches his defense. They kind of get to landmarks and they break and react to the throws. And I thought those guys did those 2 particular plays made nice breaks on the ball, and then obviously got them in the end zone.
Wise had a big first half, 5 sacks, forced fumble. He's got that body. Has he been doing that all spring?
He's been definitely making progress. I think Coach Seagrass and him have honed in. We've played him both at end and at R. You know, so he really has played both end positions. As we saw last year, he had some flashes on third down pass rush. So he just again creates mismatches because he's so long and really does a nice job of converting into the pass rush from a run stance.
Davion McKinney had that first half pick. Just assess his progress in spring.
Sleep has been a very steady improver for us. He's very smart. He's very competitive. He's a guy, you know, that played corner here, so he's kind of got that experience inside and outside. Again, another kid that's got a great range because of his arm length and can get his hands on some balls, and that's really what he's been doing. He didn't have a great scrimmage 2 weeks ago and really bounced back to these last 2.
I know that Collins and Williams are good backs too, but with Marshall having the explosive play that he's having, how hard is it not to just give him the ball over and over?
Well, it's a tremendous challenge. I think it's one that, you know, and I think that really began, I don't know if you were aware somewhat, you know, he missed about 4 or 5 practices. So it was kind of like we were just starting to see what he could do. He never worked at running, but, you know, all fall he worked at DB. And then during the fall itself, we dropped him on individuals. You know, he was still doing some DB work and then splitting time at running back. And this spring and during the winter conditioning, was all the work with Joel and his group. So it was really beginning. And then he was out for almost 2 weeks, and then we put him back in. So we're just beginning, I think, scratch the surface of what he can do.
Hey, were you able to meet with JoJo Robinson and his dad
Mhm.
since they've been here?
I haven't met with him. I saw JoJo.
Can you talk?
I don't. I'm obviously not at liberty to discuss anything. You know, one of the things that we always constantly pride ourselves on is doing everything right on and off the field, and everything. I would say this: if there was any concern on my behalf that there's any validity to it, he wouldn't be here. But he's a great kid. Dad obviously has spoken on his behalf. I'll just leave it up to them.
You talked about Brandon Allen. Where do you think your receivers were today?
You know, I was, again, there in the first half, I don't think they helped BA at all. There were some guys that got hands on the ball, and I know Hatch had a couple drops, and the good news is 81-1. If those other guys don't want to catch it, those guys do. They'll play a lot of football for us. I don't care who you are or how long you've been here. You drop passes, you're not going to play.
Coach, you talked about the backs. How do you envision using those 3 guys in the fall?
Wishbone?
All 3 of them.
No wishbone. I think that 33 is very, very good, you know, when the ball is in his hands. The growth he has to make is what he, you know, pass pros, some stuff on first and second down that when the ball isn't in his hands, he's got to become a complete back. But I just think that'll be a matter of time. He just hasn't had time to master it, to be quite honest. On the flip side of it, I think 32 and 3 realize that's a pretty good player and everybody wants the ball. So I think the neat thing for us, those 3 guys give us valuable ready-made guys right now going to fall camp, and we can spend the entire summer, you know, thinking through that process. Huh?
Corliss, can he run between?
He can run through. I know you think he's slight, but he's fast. But he is extremely. If you just go back, the first time he ever touched the ball live in college football was that A&M run, and that defender had a clear shot on his thigh board and just bounced right off him. The more I watch him run, he's obviously explosive. He's like at a different gear. When you're watching him run, it looks like he's, you know, at a different speed than everybody else. And then when people make contact, he's strong as well. So he's a great talent.
Those guys together?
I think so. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Especially, we didn't really, I would say, one of the, not disappointing, but one of the things that we were trying to find during the spring ball was a true fullback, you know, someone that we felt, Kira was exceptional. I mean, it's hard to replace a guy like that, but I don't think we have anybody in the fullback position that gets me excited right now about going out and play with that. So if it's 2 tailbacks in the game, then that's something, the option we'll explore. Absolutely.
You put Cannon in there and let him run for a touchdown. Can you just talk about letting him do that?
Well, you know, got to know him. He's been at a bunch of Razorback events with me. He's on a world tour, I think. Every time I turn around, he's there, and he's just one of those contagious personalities. I guess I can't remember what Razorback club we were at, and he was there, and was it Little Rock? And we were playing catch, and it kind of popped in my idea then, and then people with the administration, I said, hey, let's do something. Let's try to recognize him. It's a huge accomplishment. I couldn't see our guys. He had a Michael Jackson dance move. He was ready to break out. We rehearsed it at halftime in here, so I don't know if he got that on live TV or not, but I couldn't get him. Talk about a ham. I mean, he wasn't about to come off that field. He was enjoying his lineman life for eternity.
As dominant as the defensive line was, it may be hard to judge, but what do you think of the linebackers?
Well, the three guys, I think, well, I should say four. Otha Peters rolled in there a little bit, but Braylon Mitchell, Martrell Spate, Brooks Ellis, and Otha Peters, those four guys have been pretty impressive to me during fall camp. I think Randy's honed in on those guys. TQ might give us something, but then we have three freshman linebackers that I expect probably one or two of them to play as well, but they've gotten much more in tune with what we're asking them to do. They're doing a great job in the run defense. They're doing a better job of rerouting. You saw Martrell burst through there and make a couple nice plays instinctively. He's very fast. In the past, I kind of was giving him some heat the other day because in the past when he'd made a play, it was really just because he was a super athlete and he ran something down and kind of lucked himself into it. Now he's making the plays that will linebacker should make. He's reading keys. He's reading reactions. He's exploding with the keys that tell him to do certain things, and I think he's a guy that could have a great season for us.
You mentioned TQ. He's obviously not afraid of contact.
No, he's a violent, angry, short little man. You know, the thing that I know he got frustrated, sent out a tweet or whatever, and he's one of those guys, you know, that he can be an in-the-box safety. He can be I think a nickel / linebacker, and but the one thing that I know he can do is he can tackle and play with some contact.
On the 45-yard pass right before halftime, what happened?
You know, I think two things happened. We were in a half-deep safety over there. I think it was Rohan, and all I saw, I didn't see the replay or anything like that. I just saw the play as it unfolded, and I don't know if he went high on him or low on him. I asked Coach Smith, and he said that he ran right by him, so I literally don't have an answer other than the fact that it can't happen. Coach Smith was very animated at halftime about that play right there, and obviously something we don't want to relive again.
You said last week that your guard center positions are really wide open. Has anything happened? Did anything happen today that changed your mind on that?
No, I think I said left guard and center. Our right guard, Denver's continued to make strides. I think our two tackles, Skipper and Bray Cook, have had a nice spring. I think that left guard and center, Smothers has really made some nice strides. And the last 2 weeks here, I would say he's for sure the guy that's kind of coming out on top there. Grady Allison shows us some flashes at left guard, and Sharp DA as well, but had a couple of these recruits in here today that look very, very nice standing. You're going to see them in full pads, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if some of our incoming linemen help us sooner than later.
Do you feel a lot better about your first unit defense throwing them into an SEC game next fall? A lot better?
Well, I know this. The proof is going to be in the pudding next fall, but I just from coaching defense my entire life, I feel comfortable about how they're lining up, what they're saying, the ways they're communicating, the swag that they're kind of playing with. Those corners were very physical today. I know it's hard for me to say that because the corners aren't necessarily the toughest guys in the world, but they're playing extremely physical, which was an effect on the receivers on both of those interceptions in the first half, and that's hopefully going to bode well for us in the future.
As spring camp wraps up, and what's the one thing you're going to tell the guys as they head into summer that you expect the most from them, and what do you need to see from them in the summertime?
From our guys right now? First and foremost, we got about 2 weeks of school left that they got to finish strong. We got a chance to we had the highest fall semester GPA in the school history, and I think this spring will be better than that. So that's a huge indicator for me if we can do that. We got kind of a unique summer that we got 3 weeks of discretionary time where they're on their own, and they just can't go sit on the couch and play video games and eat all mom's cooking. They got to take a little initiative and report here at the end of May, first week of June in good shape. And then I think there is a new NCAA rule that allows us to do some hog and ease for the first 4 weeks of the summer that we'll take full advantage of, and really stress those guys that when we're not around as coaches is when they're going to have their biggest growth. How do they handle themselves when we're not around? How they bring along some of these new players that are going to come in June for summer school and continue to make strides forward.
Last one.
Looks like you can tackle. Is this more like one of your teams?
Well, it is my team, so it's got to be. But I think that the point that you're trying to is that they're just playing a little more aggressive, and there's a lot of wraps. Now, you probably saw me today. I got after. We didn't want to have any cut tackles, which is something DBs will use, obviously, more so than any other position. I just didn't want to go low on our backs. We didn't have any cut blocking, and so on the flip side of it, we won't do cut tackling against our own opponent or against our own teammates. But they're definitely playing it. Defensively, I just know this. They're playing more aggressive before the snap, which allows them to play more aggressive during the snap.